Make it publicly clear.
It is 3/9/2026. Your boy Big G back in the building with Menace to Yinz, the Know It Alls podcast that you can get every week over here on the Know It Alls podcast channel. Listen, y'all, we got big news coming tonight, big things going on tonight, and a big show going on tonight. We'll get to the special guest here in a minute, but listen, if you haven't liked and subscribed and shared the podcast. The Know It Alls podcast is growing like crazy, but we cannot grow without you. So make you sure you share with a friend, and all them Steelers Yinzies out there to get this thing going. And make sure that you also look into the memberships for the Know It Alls podcast channel. We have memberships, exclusive content, special emojis, stuff that you can only see backstage with the Know It Alls. Check out the different tiers, the different levels of subscribing that we have. And we are back in business with the show, y'all. Y'all listen, I've been waiting for this forever. I got a special guest right now today that's going to join me. Let's bring him into the podcast. The Triple OG, Triple, my boy Shannon White from Steel Curtain Network, man, back in the building. We doing the reunion thing. Shannon White and Big G back together one more time, man, for the runaround. Shannon, what's crack-a-lacking, bro?
Hey, the dynamic duo. You can't keep us down. Everybody's been saying, when you going to be on with G again? When you going to be on with G? I said, it's just been, I had some family issues, that death in the family, and I was going to be on the inaugural episode. And, but this is great because with free agency opening today, great day to be on for the first time.
Absolute facts, man. Back in the building, Shannon, you see they loving it already. I acknowledge all the live chat. We got about 50 people in here right now. Let's get this thing up past 150 people watching this live, man, because you know you're going to get outstanding and great content today with your boy Big G and my man Shannon Triple OG White on Menace to Yinz. Shannon, it's off the hook out in them Steelers streets, Shannon. Oh, yeah. It's off the hook. Yeah. The Steelers, hey, it's off the hook across the National Football League. And I've talked about this on multiple podcast platforms. I stated it way before it happened, that you're going to see trades like you never saw before. You're going to see free agent signings like you never saw before, because you got a bunch of teams putting their foot or hand in the middle to acquire what we need to acquire. Well, the Steelers wasn't quiet. Mm-hmm. We had 3 moves today. And so, Shannon, I want you to start first and talk about the moves that we had. And then what do you like about the 3 moves that we did?
Well, actually, kind of almost 4 moves. But, I think the Cole Holcomb, which will start out with the first move I've seen today.
Yeah.
Holcomb I loved Holcomb. And I think he was a great signing. Last year, he's coming back from that devastating injury, and he was never 100%. If you remember what he looked like prior to the injury when he got to Pittsburgh, he really solidified that position. Then the injury happened. So last year, he was back, but he wasn't all the way back. But that second year removed usually is when you're going to reach back closer to your prime potential. So
facts.
I think that was a smart signing. You want that quality depth guy. Losing Gainwell, I know a lot of people, might be upset about that. I think that Gainwell was great. He was so important to that offense last year. But hopefully this year they can lean on Warren and have the receivers where they won't have to target Gainwell so much.
Yeah.
And they'll throw the ball actually to Freiermuth and to Washington. So I think that it was great for both teams, both parties involved, because Gainwell earned that. That's his first big money contract. Well, for him. And he really has an opportunity. So I wish him nothing but the best. He was a great Steeler, a great teammate, great player. But then, of course, we're starting to look at the big Jamal Dean signing.
Yeah.
Now, we know that we lost Pierre. Yeah. Another guy that I'm super happy for.
Pierre LaPue is adios muchachos, Triple OG. He went to the Minnesota Vikings, and they paid him.
Yeah,
they paid him.
I'm saying.
Facts.
When you're an undrafted guy, you live on a career of 1-year contracts, trying to fight to make the roster. He's done that. But now he's got a little security, a 2-year, I think it was, contract. with more money than he's ever received. And he's, and he was like one of the highest rated PFF cornerback last year.
Facts.
And he did a great job. He's not spectacular. He's solid and he's steady.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy for him. He played hard for all these years to get this, and I'm happy for him. But by getting Jamal Dean,
yes,
you get the third-ranked cornerback in PFF.
Yes.
And a guy who had the number one lowest yards per target, lowest completion percentage against, all this stuff. And he's proven it. He's a Super Bowl champion. I mean, the dude is just a steady. But, we know Pierre's steady. But so's Dean. But Dean's got a little of that spectacular in him. He can do some things that Pierre cannot. And if you've got Porter, Joey Porter's become Big Ben Jr. And what I mean by that is that nobody respects Joey Porter Jr. Even though he is turned into one of the top corners in the NFL, he don't get his props because, he don't fit the mold.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he just don't give up anything. He don't give up. He didn't even have as many penalties.
He had 3 picks, and he's a shutdown corner, Shannon, with 3 picks. He's 6'1", 207 or 8 pounds. He's a freaking avatar that can play corner just like JPJ.
Yeah, JPJ. So you put Jamal Dean in there next to Porter on the other side, and then you bring back Samuel. And, everybody's talking about he's not really a slot guy, and I agree, because Samuels does not like to tackle.
Facts.
So or especially early downs, you don't want Samuel on the inside.
Yeah.
But Dean can tackle, and so can Porter. And then you also have Ramsey's going to be a full-time safety this year.
Yeah.
So the secondary, it's all coming together, and we're still early. So for me, today was a very profitable day and a positive day to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yeah, listen, Shannon, those moves alone, and I keep saying this. Now, I still think that Ramsey's going to play a little bit of that slot corner, right? But if you got Ramsey and you got Echols as slot corner, and you got Dean and JPJ on the outside, Kent is your rotational guy. We got 5 guys. We only need one more corner, right? Yeah. So where we were going to be dependent to go early in the first round, maybe in the second round, maybe even possibly third round for a corner. Now that need is not as high up as what it was. It's not a half. It's not what we got to. And really, we ain't got to reach, man. Yeah. And that's the thing, because I hate reaching for corners. Yeah. Shannon, you've known me for years. No. I don't like reaching for corners. No. I can't stand it. If I'm going to reach, I'm reaching for a big guy. I'm not reaching for a little dude. I ain't doing it. Yeah. Right. So now that knee goes down. And like you said, I think Dean is way better than Pierre LePew. And I'm not saying Pierre LePew was bad, but Dean is a top 5 or 6 corner ranked from PFF for sure. And he was the number 3 corner on free agency, Shannon, the number 3. So with that, and listen, we restructured. We got Dean for a decent amount of money. He's only 29 years old. Right, so he's not an old guy. This is not like bringing in one of them old trash veterans.
Slay from last year.
Yeah. This ain't the same thing.
Yeah.
This ain't Slay and Patterson. We got a quality corner to go opposite JPJ. So Shannon, I'm flat out digging it. And like you said with Holcomb, and then we got Asante Samuel for basically peanuts. He got a 1-year prove it to me deal.
Yeah.
So the rotational depth between Samuel, Dean, between Ramsey, Samuel, Dean, JPJ, and Echols, man, we're sitting good. Yeah, Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean both just signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean just signed with the Raiders like in the last 20 seconds.
The Raiders had a ton of cap, and they've cleared out a lot more since the season ended. But boy, they've made some smart signings today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if they draft Mendoza.
Yeah.
I mean, you got, oh, crap. Who's the –
Genty, the running back, and Brower's the tight end.
But they got their center from the Ravens.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to go back up here to Christine. Yeah, I saw Christine. Christine was so happy. Where's that comment at? I saw with Christine where she said the best thing that happened all day that oh, there it go right there. Christine said, Big G, the Ravens lost Leonard Baum. That was the best part of the day. Hey, the Ravens lost Leonard Baum and Likely and their third tight end. They lost two tight ends and Leonard Baum today. So the Ravens, they might have got Max Crosby, but get them rat birds out of here, Shannon. Get him gone.
Well, you think about Jency. He probably's crying right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, if you give me a quarterback, you give me an offensive line, I'll show you what I can do. Last year, he just kept running into a brick wall. He reminded me of Najee Harris when he was a rookie because there wasn't nowhere to go.
That's right. 9 in the box, 8 in the box every time, Shannon. Yeah. But yeah. So now, Shannon, we talked about some little preliminary stuff, right? Because we're going to get to this big game hunting topic that we came and brought the people to the show for. And you guys, super chats are wide open. If you want to get your rant or comment up on the screen, make sure you super chat us in the comments. And we guarantee you that bad baby's going up, even for you, the diabolical Claude Bishop. Even for you, it's going up, man. So, Shannon, we went big game hunting. Yep. We knew that the Pittsburgh Steelers was either going to have to trade or sign a wide receiver. We knew it. Yep. Now, I'm going to be clear. I was screaming Alec Pierce the whole freaking time. I was like, Alec Pierce. But, Shannon, in a million years, would you think that we would have got his counterpart that's better than him in Pittman?
Mm-hmm. No, I never even mentioned Pittman. One, we didn't know he was going to be available.
Yeah.
And for the price, and then they already give him that new deal, which made total sense.
Facts.
To me, you have to have a reliable chain mover across from Metcalf.
Yes.
And that's what Pittman is. I mean, the guy is just, I heard somebody say because he's got size that he's going to be a contested catch guy like Metcalf. He's really not. I think last year he was like 7 out of 17 on contested catches coming down with the ball.
Facts.
He is a route runner. He is the guy. He runs a 4.5, but he still gets open. He shields good with his body. He's the guy that moves the chains. He's that reliable number 2 that you put across for Metcalf. And then now you got Roman Wilson, you got Shronic, and then whoever you can draft and bring in. And they might bring in another wide receiver. But what I say is Pittman, for what they give up to give him, and now he is a new start because the Colts prioritized Pierce.
Yes, and Shannon, this is the thing. We didn't give up nothing.
Yeah.
Listen up, you Yinzies. Let's be perfectly clear.
Yeah.
We didn't give up nothing. All we did was a pick swap. We did a later round pick swap with them. So either we're going to trade, we're going to trade a 5th or a 6th, which, by the way, we got a compensatory stuff worked out today. So that worked out beautiful for us.
They got 2 and 6.
Correct. And so now we flip one of those picks. Yep. We get Pittman, and we restructured it and gave him bread. Yep. And we didn't pay him a whole lot of money, Shannon. It was about $18 million. Yeah, and God, is he happy. Yeah. We gave him only about $18 million a year. And guess what? If DK Metcalf goes down, Pittman could go to the number 1. Easily he can be the one receiver.
He's got the size and everything.
Yeah, he's actually huge. For a lot of folks that don't know that. He's like 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds, 223 pounds, man. So he's a big time, and he can block, Shannon. Mm-hmm. 80 catches for 784 yards and 7 touchdowns. Great stat, mod. With Shannon, a big trash Danny Dimes playing quarterback. If he can get 800 with nobody, oh my God, what can he get with a good quarterback?
Well, he was doing a lot better before Danny Dimes got hurt. Because he was playing really well for him. I'll give him credit for that. But he was developing a chemistry with Jones, and then Jones got hurt.
Yeah. And like we said, we didn't give up a 4th. No. We gave up a 5th, a flip for a 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, we didn't give up nothing.
And the last I heard, Jacksonville wants a 2nd for Thomas.
Hell no.
And so I'm like, you have to. They got Pittman really on the cheap, no doubt.
Yeah, and that's the deal, Shannon. We wasn't going to pay all kind of draft capital because we knew that we got some serious holes we got to fill. No diddy, no doubt. We got some holes we got to fill for the Steelers roster, and we can't afford to be giving up 2nd rounds and 3rd round picks. This 53-man roster still needs some help. right? But we knew that we was either going to sign or trade. But this saves us all kind of money, Shannon. The more than anything, no draft capital, all kind of money. We secured the number 2 wide receiver in the room for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, this people talk crazy about Omar Khan, Shannon.
Yeah,
dog. This was one of his. He fleeced. We thought he fleeced Chicago with Claypool. This is unbelievable, Shannon. This is unbelievable what he just got off. He fleeced them.
Well, they either had to. There was an article like 3 days ago. And I didn't even realize it. The Colts said that they were talking, the Colts would either have to extend Pittman because they couldn't afford him and Pierce at the moment. They'd have to extend him so they could spread his money out, or they'd have to trade him. And and what's so funny is Pittman said his wife, like a couple of days prior, had a dream that he was wearing a Steeler uniform in the dream. And I said, hey, he said God works in mysterious ways. I'm like, hey, that's a sign, baby. It was meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, Shannon, I don't think we're done.
No.
Now, I done put it out there on some channels, and I'm just saying. And Shannon, I want to get your reaction because I've heard mixed emotions what I'm about to say, but I've heard it more than once, more than twice, repeated more than once and more than twice. Mike Evans went to the San Francisco 49ers today for a nice contract.
Yep.
The 49ers are releasing Brandon Ayuk. They're going to try their best to re-sign Jawan Jennings, and they're releasing Brandon Ayuk. I have heard from multiple sources that Brandon Ayuk will be a Steeler too. So, Shannon, if our wide receiver room 1, 2, 3 is DK Metcalf, Pittman, and Brandon Ayuk, I mean, what are we talking about, Shannon? That is outstanding wide receiver room for the Steelers, man.
Yeah, I mean, that would be – I mean, for a guy that they wanted the arm and a leg for just last year, and the Steelers have been tried for 2 years, if they end up getting him like that, and he's still got something left. I mean, it's, a lot of these signings towards the end of Tomlin's tenure, they were getting old guys past their expiration date.
Yes.
This is not the case right now. Dean's still in his prime, firmly in his prime, based on
Facts.
Facts. Pittman just needs a quarterback, I think, to reach his prime. Now, who that'll be in Pittsburgh, we don't know yet. But, if you get a guy like Cook, I mean, there's other guys out there that could still be a possibility. But it looks like the Steelers really want to focus on the draft to add another receiver or two, and I'm all for it. Like I told you, I would love Tyson. I'd love Cooper. There's some guys that would fit this squad perfectly.
Well, Shannon, I at this point, I don't think the Steelers have to spend a first-round pick to get a wide receiver.
Not a first round, no.
At this point right now, because of what we did today. And now it's like, okay, you can get it in a second. Yeah. You could get it in a third, right?
But
and
if Tyson fell there, I don't know how you pass on him if he fell there.
Shannon, I'm going to be honest. Those top 3 guys, if Tyson, Tate, or Lemon fall to the Steelers, I don't know how you pass on them.
But
I don't know. I don't know how you do it.
They honestly could, for one of the first times, go BPA and mean it.
Yeah.
Because it's always BPA at a position of need. That's common sense. But I'm saying this year, everything's open.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Tyson, I don't know. I personally believe that none of those top 3 are going to be there. I think the next 2 will be there at Boston and Cooper. Yeah. Right. And then, so you got to look at what Boston and Cooper is at wide receiver versus looking at what both of the Bell boys, both Skylar and Greg, Skylar Bell out of UConn or Greg Bell out of Louisville, or maybe a guy like that Hirsch kid from Georgia State University, Zachariah Branch, Brissett that was Cooper's running mate in Indiana, Gianni Bernard out of Alabama. There's going to be some receivers sitting there, man, Shannon. So I don't think that the need is going to, and like you said, now we're at BPA, or not necessarily say BPA, best player available for the Steelers. Yeah. So that brings me to my next point, Shannon. Shannon, I've been screaming for weeks, because me and you ain't been on no podcast together.
Yeah.
I've been screaming Vega. I've been screaming Vega. Vega, right? And I think that the Steelers have to go either left guard or left tackle in the first round, because Cook has only had 4 starts, Shannon, And his last start, he looked freaking horrible. Let's be clear. He looked horrible. But now you can either go left tackle or left guard. So, Shannon, your thoughts. Let me get to the super chat first, man. P. Williams, man, thank you for the $5, man. He said if the Ayuk becomes a Steeler, then do we have to address a wide receiver in the first round and address the O-line and defensive tackles in the first two rounds? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, saying, yeah,
absolutely. But I think I think now you don't have to go wide receiver first round anyway, because there's quality guys that can play the slot position for the Steelers with that second round pick.
You still got Roman Wilson, who I want to see get a chance.
Yep.
And Cooper is another guy. And the reason I like Cooper so much is he played for a national champion who I promise you, because we know the coach. Signetti is hard. He's a hard guy to play for. He expects perfection. They'll be winning 55-0, and he's pissed that you blew a block or you didn't hustle. So he will come in and he'll be able to integrate into the Steeler culture easily. Mm-hmm. The guys that we're talking about, all these guys are quality men off the field. They're quality young men. They're not guys who are problem drama children.
Yeah.
We got to stay away from the pickings. Yeah, there's a reason he fell to where he did. We can't control him either. Nobody can. Stay away from that and go after quality young men. And I think that the Steelers draft this year, I think they're going to.
Yeah, I think character is going to be high on the list. And Shannon, this brings me back to what we was talking about. Shannon Vega, man. Your thought. So listen what I'm thinking. If the Raiders don't pick him at 14, if the Raiders don't, which they actually could, right?
Yeah.
I don't think the Miami Dolphins go with him at 15, right? The Detroit Lions is sitting out there. So now that these compensatory picks have been given to us, it only takes 250 points to move from 21 to 15. Is that an aggressive move to go after Vega with that first round pick, man?
It would be. And if they feel that strongly about him, then I can see it. Because, like I said, the foundations are everything. We've talked about this many times. You know, I love the round bellies. If you've got weakness in your foundations, it don't matter what you build around it. To me, it's just you don't even want to get a new young quarterback if you don't have the foundation first. Everybody does it backwards. They draft the quarterback and then they try to find help. And no, that ain't how it works. Because you get him killed, he loses his confidence, he loses his momentum. Because we understand they get better every year as they progress if they are protected, if they feel confident, and not seeing ghosts or hearing footsteps, so to speak. So I don't want him to trade up in the first. I would even trade back and get, say there's a guard that you like that's going to be around 28. Trade back, get some more picks because I want to see him accumulate picks for next year. So what I mean by that is use the additional picks they have this year to move up in each round and get a guy they want, not who falls to them. Starting in the second round, maybe early second round, trade up and get a Cooper. You know what I'm saying? Or get a guy that Banks, whoever that might be there early right there. I do.
You like Banks, the defensive end from Florida? You like Banks, the DN from Florida?
Well, it depends on where he's available at. But what I'm saying is they need to also, if somebody says, hey, my guy's sitting there, I want to trade into your spot, trade picks for next year. Don't have to be this year. You already got too many. Trade for next year, and then you can use them when you're hopefully going after your franchise quarterback. So it's going to be exciting, this draft. I think it's going to be super exciting.
Yeah, listen, I've been pounding the table for Vega. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
But I like Emmanuel Pregon too from Oregon. I like him at left guard, man. That kid is big, man, and nasty and mean. 6'4", 315-pound guard. Yeah, run it. But we have to solidify. Shannon, I think that's outside of safety. We have to solidify left guard, left tackle, safety. There's the holes right now. Yeah. Right now it's left guard, left tackle, and safety. So that gives me where they should be circling the wagons for the Steelers in the first round. We don't need no receiver. We don't need no cornerback. Maybe inside linebacker might be in that list too. But we'll get to that here in a minute.
Yeah.
But left guard, left tackle, safety, and then maybe inside linebacker, right? So if we do what you said, maybe trade back, acquire a couple more picks because we're not going to move them all, then get aggressive in the seconds and the third rounds, which, by the way, we have 4 picks in the second and third round. We can move up and down the board and get anybody we want. So Emmanuel Pragon is not a bad move for the Steelers if we're going to move back. But I just want to get your reaction or your thoughts concerning, because you said it already, you'd like to move back, but for a talent like Vega, because Shannon, they're saying he's Dave DeCastro, bro. Shannon, they're saying that, man.
Yeah.
They're saying, your thoughts, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's more powerful.
Yeah.
DeCastro got stronger. There was a few durability questions with him coming out. I don't think you have with Vega. I think he's stronger. I think he's a plug-and-play guy. You know, that's one area as a guard on the offensive line that you can plug-and-play a rookie.
Yeah.
And if they've got that talent, they're a first-round guy, they need to play sooner rather than later. Now, we know that one of the things that was an issue with Tomlin is he did not like to play the young guys. But look at Mike's McCarthy's resume.
Yeah.
He does play young guys, and he's played numerous rookies. So that could be a place that you could just plug and play. And then, I think Cook will go into camp as the presumed number one, get that opportunity to compete for that job. But if you bring somebody in and can beat him out of it, so be it, because like you say, he's got 4 or 5 starts.
Right. I mean, we have to, I think at guard is a priority, but then the tackle, we can really look at it. Now listen, Spencer Fanu's not going to be there. Let's be perfectly clear.
Yeah.
But Freeling, the tackle from Georgia, is going to be there. He's going to be sitting right there, Shannon. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a guy that we could trade back and get. Maybe even the tackle from Arizona State University that we could trade back and get. But we have to shore up the left side of the offensive line. That's pure priority on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Shoring up because I think we're going to get the receivers and stuff that we need. Which brings me to my next point, Shannon. I heard all the chatter. We're going to sign Malik Willis. And hell no, we ain't signing no Malik Willis. Get his big trash out of here. We're not with Kyler Murray. No. So now I got a little breaking news for the podcast people. Me and Shannon talked about this off air. This is legit. This is not made up. This is from a Steeler insider that was dropped off today. I'm going to read it word for word verbatim of what happened. Where in the heck did it go? Word for word verbatim. So Adam Farrell, an insider for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the National Football League, said today that the Pittsburgh Steelers have an offer on the table for the Chicago Bears backup quarterback, Tyson Badgett. The offer is believed to be a 3rd-round pick, but the Bears want a 2nd-round pick. They said that the two sides are trying to negotiate back and forth. So if it ain't the driftwood, Aaron Rodgers, is Badgett a guy that you think that the Steelers could use at quarterback?
Everybody asks me what's my dreams offseason scenario. And I always said Will Howard, Badgett, and a rookie they bring in the draft. One time I was talking about Chambliss, if he come out and fell to the 3rd where they had 3 picks. Or we could talk about Alar or the kid out of LSU. I guess they may coming to me right now. But yeah, I mean, to me,
Nussmeier,
yeah. To me, he come from a small school in West Virginia, and he come in and he competed and he made the team, and try to get a second out of a guy is kind of pricey. But if you watched him when he did have to start like 6 games for Chicago that year, and then his preseason, how much he improved last year in the preseason, you see the talent.
Yeah.
I think he has an NFL caliber arm. He has some mobility. He stands tall in the pocket. He goes through progressions. I think he would be a great guy. Again, to find our next franchise quarterback, you got to throw darts at the board and see what you hit and see what sticks. You're not. I don't want to give up too much, but I really like Badgett. I think that he can be a starting quarterback, a game manager, starting quarterback at some point in his NFL career. I like him and his potential more than I did Mason Rudolph, if that tells you anything.
Yeah. Well, Shannon, this is the deal. Now, whether the Yinzies want to hear it or not, let's just be clear. Okay? The deal is that, Driftwood Aaron Rodgers is back in the building, whether we want to face it or not. Driftwood is back, right? They're not saying he doesn't have a contract in place, but we know right away this is the deal, right? So you got two options at that point. The two options are you got Driftwood, Will Howard, and Mason Rudolph. There's your three, okay? And believe me, Art Rooney and Shannon, like I've been saying for months, Art Rooney is the damn villain. I've been talking about that since it's way back in November, that Art Rooney is the villain in this because he wants Aaron Rodgers back, right? But if you go with that, or you could go Driftwood, Will Howard, and draft Drew Aller and make Drew Aller and Will Howard fight it out to be Driftwood's backup. And if the best one of them, that could be your next franchise quarterback because they're going to learn up underneath Rodgers and they're going to have competition amongst themselves in the preseason and OTAs and all whatever else. Or scenario 3 is Driftwood doesn't come back. You got Howard, you get Badgett, and you got Rudolph. So out of those 3 scenarios, which one do you like the most, man?
Actually, I don't want Rudolph or Rodgers back.
Oh,
I'll take Howard, Badgett if you could get him, and then take Alar or the quarterback you're targeting there. And I want 3 guys with potential, and save your resources and save your draft capital to build the roster right now because this is not a Super Bowl team in 2026. Or 2027. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, now let's build and get guys in there with potential, and you get lucky, you strike lightning, find that guy. I'm telling you, I think Badgett had the highest rating in the preseason last year. His rating was better than Williams. And he actually played some. Williams didn't play the whole time, against with the starters. So, and I know that the offense should be more open, more aggressive, more utilizing the whole field, different route concepts, not so conservative under McCarthy. So I think he would fit in nicely. Yeah.
Mark Malone said, hey, man, Mark, I've been screaming for this, man. I like Shannon because, listen, Shannon's been talking about Badgett forever. Yeah. Shannon's been talking about Badgett. But listen, if you give me Drew Aller and Will Howard to fight, to back up Driftwood Rodgers, I'm good with that. Because guess what? If Rodgers would to happen to go down, now I'm going to find out real quick, fast, in a hurry, who the heir apparent is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Either it's going to be the guy that we run in there at the quarterback, or we're going to go draft one in 2027. And that's what I've been saying all along, that you just cannot give the ball, the football to Will Howard. You have to make him earn it. And he hasn't earned it, right? So if you bring in Aller and you bring in to fight with Howard, if he beats him out, he beats him out. They're basically the same guy. They're both around 6'4". They're both 230 pounds. I think Aller's got a little bit of stronger arm, but I think Howard's just a little bit more athletic. So they're going to go at it. And that's a good scenario for me in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Shannon. That's what I'm saying, at quarterback. But 2027 is the move. Listen, I know 2027 – Shannon, we talked about this extent on multiple podcast platforms. There's so many quarterbacks in 2027. I mean, good God almighty.
Yeah, they're all coming at the same time.
Yeah.
But I will say, I do not want Ty Simpson.
No, hell no, Shannon. Hell no. I don't want no Ty Simpson. Get him out of here. And listen, if they take Ty Simpson in the first round, I'm putting the whole Pittsburgh Steelers organization in the matrix. You hear me? They all going to the matrix. Every last one of them, Shannon. I'm talking about from Rooney to Khan all the way down. They all going to the matrix. That's diabolical. All right. Kenneth McNair, man, thank you for the $4.99. I think AR2 was more of a product of Tomlin. He's guilty of being too comfortable with the Tomlin way, but he's not the villain. Judge him from now on. I didn't say you talking about Art Rooney the second. It wasn't a villain. Kenny McNair, you're tripping. He wasn't. Kenny, Shannon, I got a sidebar. I might have to send this. You know what, man? I can't put you in the penalty box because you super chatted. I just can't. The only guy that gets that is Claude. I can't. But Kenneth, I got to be clear with you. I got to be perfectly clear. Hey, the executive producer said it don't matter if you super chat or not. You're going into the damn penalty box. So let's be clear. Art Rooney II did not give Tomlin coaches. Now, there's never been any validity about how much money Mike Tomlin made. But we've seen him dump astronomical amounts of resources in the Pittsburgh Steelers since Mike Tomlin walked out the door. Shannon, we got 2 coaches at every damn position. Mm-hmm. I've never seen that. Not since Bill Cowher have I seen that. So somebody was being cheap somewhere. Somebody was lying about some money somewhere. Someone right somewhere. Now you can say it was Tomlin hogging up all the money. Okay. But I'm leaning towards Art Rooney II had the bread, and there was a lot of super glue, paper clips, toilet paper, straws and stuff trying to string this thing together, which is okay because we moved past Tomlin. We're on Mike McCarthy. And guess what? Because I support the brand, the Steelers, give him every resource he needs. Don't you agree, Shannon?
No, definitely. I think Art the second is more incompetent and he's unrealistic and that he cannot use the word rebuild and he refuses to acknowledge where they are right now.
Facts.
That's not necessarily being the villain. He's just not Dan Rooney. But neither was Art Sr. Art never won anything as the owner. They sucked. They were a laughingstock. And then he said, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Dan took over. Dan hired Mike Nunn. Dan did, he's the one that put the dynasty together. And that's why we have the Steelers we have today. Now Dan passed and Art the second has taken over and he's a far cry. He's nothing like Dan. And so I'm hoping that the fact that they've hired all these new coaches and conditioning team and supposedly they're going to put more money into facilities. I'm hoping this is partly because of the new coach and Mike McCarthy and the new coaching staff. And he's going to take a step back and let other people, he'll be the money and the other owners will be the money behind this, but he'll let other people be more control of daily operations. So
Facts.
That's what I'm hoping happens. But I mean, I don't want to call him a villain, but he has been a hindrance since Dan passed.
Shannon, I'm gonna call him a villain. He's diabolical. I'm gonna tell it like it is. He's horrible, right? And I like this question by All Around Ball 2788. He said, "What happens if Aaron Rodgers comes back? We go 10-7. We don't go far in the playoffs, and Rodgers retires. What happens then? What happens then is you got basically 2 rookie quarterbacks, and if you don't think either one of those guys are the guy, we go get a quarterback in 2027. There's gonna be the draft in 2027 is so deep. I'm telling you right now, there's going to be 6 to 8 quarterbacks taken in the first round alone. All these guys are all coming out together, and it's going to get diabolical, right? And the quality of players, guys like Jeremiah Smith, guys like Colin Simmons, guys like Stewart, the defensive end from South Carolina. There's so many good players coming out that not all the teams that pick in the top 10 or top 15 are going to be quarterback needy. So the Pittsburgh Steelers at 10-7 can still realistically, and that's what Shannon's saying about having picks for 2027 to be able to acquire and move up that board to get the guy they want. True, Shannon?
Oh, yeah. It's the teams you see do that. The Patriots do that. The Ravens do that. They're playing chess with the draft when the Steelers played. I don't even know if you call it checkers, maybe tic-tac-toe forever. But now we're starting to come to the modern century.
Yeah. Hey, it's breaking news. Isaac Siamalo just signed a 3-year, $31.5 million with the Arizona Cardinals. So Isaac Seumalo is no longer at Pittsburgh. And they paid him, Shannon. That's a lot of money.
That's Pittsburgh West. And,
yeah.
Hey, that's great. That takes some of the money out of their cap. And they overpaid for an older guy that can't stay healthy anymore. I wish him the best, but I'm glad that happened.
Yeah. So hey, listen, I've been trying to sell it, Garen Styles. I've been saying all along, Vega. I've been screaming Vega, right? Because I knew. Listen, they don't call me G Stradamus for just any old reason, Shannon. One of my daughters that took my son. They don't call your boy the G Stradamus just for any old reason. There's a reason they call, because I see way out there, Shannon, way out there, and I'm like, I know that's position of need, right? Left guard and left tackle. Now, Shannon, we're gonna flip on the other side of the ball. All right, right now.
I want to say one thing. I don't know if you've seen it.
Go ahead.
Roderick Jones. They said that his injury and his diagnosis for return wasn't as bad as what everybody was feared.
Right. He's definitely going to get a return, but he's not going to be ready by the beginning of the 2026 season. So if he comes back, look for him after week 5 or week 6. Yeah. That is for you guys that don't understand, for a big man, that ain't enough time to necessarily be ready to roll.
No.
That ain't enough time. And we've already seen now. I'm not saying Broderick hasn't made progression, but if I got to start Cook, I'm starting Cook over Broderick. Based on tape and what I saw, I'm starting Cook. So, yes, it's not as bad. I really do not believe that we're going to pick up the option for Broderick Jones. I think it's a wait-and-see deal, right? But he's not going to be done for the 2026 season, but he's not going to start the 2026 season. Right. No.
Crazy, man. You're right. I am crazy.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? But oh well, you got gold and you got gold.
Tim Lyons, you got the penalty already, bro. Said nobody called you that. Nobody. People call me. They call me G Stradamus, right? Now listen. Now I see my boy Tay Boy Fresh in here. Said I love Vega. Why would I not? We don't have a damn guard.
Yeah.
Spencer Anderson ain't playing guard. You can forget it. Spencer Anderson will get cooked at guard. So who playing guard? Who playing guard? Matter of fact, who playing tackle? So see, that's that one to be cute. Get a wide receiver, get a DB. Hell no. Shannon, let him know, Shannon, about that offensive line, what we got to do on that line, Shannon.
Well, we're seeing the benefits of the change in philosophy, because forever the Steelers went bargain bin shopping, trying to fill the offensive line, and eventually it collapsed. So, but they got Brother Frazier, they got Mr. McCormick, and they got Fontano. That side's set. Now they got to invest in the left again. Well, Jones, I don't want to write him off. I'm not giving him the 5th year for sure, but he'll have a chance. But they need to invest in left guard.
Yeah, I wouldn't, Shannon. There is never a time in the National Football League. Well, thanks, Mean Green, for the comment, man. I appreciate it. There's never a time in the National Football League where you don't invest in the offensive and defensive lines. It's never a time.
Yeah,
it is never a time. You always, if you're a successful team, you always have to spend money in free agency and draft capital to invest in the offensive and defensive line if you want to win.
The Patriots, during their whole dynasty there, every year they invested at least one pick. I mean, you have to, because you have to replenish, because injuries happen that can be catastrophic. And in one play, you lose a guy for the year. So you have to keep replenishing and have quality depth.
Man, listen, stuff's going crazy over here. Let me stop and pause, Shannon. Let me see what happened. Blankenship signed a 1-year deal with the Houston Texans. Who cares about that? That's the Philadelphia Eagles guy. Man, my phone has been going off, man. So I got to stop and check. Stop and pause for a second. Seahawks, Rashid Sheedy went back to the Seattle Seahawks. 3-year, $51 million. Right? So that's a done deal.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's a done deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm caught up right now to see, man, what's going on. I don't see nothing else going out there. Rashid Sheedy, but that's some players that the Steelers wanted. Sean R, man, what's up? He said, yo, G, did you see supposedly the best offer the Jags got for Brian Thomas Jr. was a conditional pick? Don't close that door on Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, I'm not closing it either. If we can, for a fourth, hell yeah. For a fourth.
Yeah,
right now, for a fourth. So I get it. Okay, now, Shannon, we flipping on the other side.
Okay,
we go on the other side. We sign Holcomb. Rumors are out there Queen ain't going to stay. Well, let me see. Queen ain't going to stay. You got Peyton Wilson. Harrison is a big question mark, right? What do we need to do with middle linebacker, Shannon?
Well, you kept Holcomb, who, again, if Holcomb is back to his previous form, close to it, then I think Harrison would have to be cost efficient. I don't know if he would be, because he's pretty much a one-trick pony. He's a great run thumper. He's kind of like Roberts.
Yes.
He come in, he'll lay the wood, but he's not. You don't want him out there. He can be a liability in coverage.
Yeah.
So I think Peyton Wilson. I'm higher on Wilson than a lot of people. I think Wilson has to be used correctly. I hope that he's spent a lot of time on his functional strength this offseason to be able to play a little more physical, to tackle a little better, because in coverage, his mobility is his greatest asset.
Facts.
And he's very smart. So he's got the instincts and the intelligence. He needs to improve his functional strength. But if you move off the Queen, you're going to have to replace him with somebody.
Yeah.
Now, there's an old boy from Ohio State, which
Sonny Styles,
about that the Steelers were never going to sniff.
Hell, never.
No, but I mean, we're talking, miracles could happen, and maybe teams will get scared off by something. But I don't think it's going to happen. He ain't getting out of the top 10 if he gets that far. But I think that they need to, if you brought back Holcomb, Harrison, and Wilson, and then you replace somebody, replace Queen. But I don't know who you replace him with.
Right. Shannon, I don't think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to sign an inside middle linebacker. I think this is going to be one of those positions that's going to get addressed in the draft. Now, there's actually 4 linebackers I like inside. You mentioned one of them, Sonny Styles, right off the bat.
Yeah.
We don't have a chance in hell getting him.
No.
Right. Anthony Hill Jr., middle linebacker out of University of Texas. Yeah. He might be available. And that's a solid field for an inside linebacker for us.
Yeah.
Rodriguez out of Texas Tech University. That's a solid field that we might be able to get on the 3rd round, right? And then my other 3rd rounder is Trotter from the University of Missouri. I like any of those kids to fill a void for the Pittsburgh Steelers at middle linebacker to build depth, because it's definitely, to me, a position of depth, Shannon. That's what I'm saying, bro. I think that's what we got to do.
I would like to have somebody who's a little bit of a combo, like who may be a little stronger against the run, but not be a liability against the pass. So, that when we're talking about Hill is not a liability. I've heard different things about Rodriguez. He's a feast or famine guy. He gets a lot of turnovers, creates a lot of turnovers. But, will that translate to the NFL? I think it will. But I think, I have him like late 2nd, early 3rd. So we just have to see, where he ends up.
Yeah.
But then Trotter he's got the bloodlines.
Facts.
He's got pedigree, and he played, even last year, he played like a pro.
Yeah.
I mean, when you watched him, he looked like a pro. So he might be the best value there.
Shannon, we were screaming for Trotter's brother a couple years ago on the different draft shows we were on. We were both like, go get Trotter's brother. I mean, the brother that went to Clemson. Yeah. Well, this Trotter's just as good as him. Yeah. So, and I think Fisher, somebody brought it up in the chat, Fisher's going to be a good pick, inside linebacker from Indiana. That might be a 3rd, late 3rd, 4th. That's a good pick at inside linebacker. But I think they're going to wait to address it there. Shannon, but the elephant in the room, outside of left guard and left tackle, is the safety position, right? Now, I don't believe that Ramsey's going to get moved to safety full time. I don't believe it. You're going to have to make me believe it. And is he actually going to play?
You don't think that's his future?
Well, I'm not saying it's not his future, Shannon. But what I'm saying is they're not going to do it. I think it's straight smoke. And really, let's be clear. How good did Jalen Ramsey look at safety? Horrible. He was out there getting smoked at safety, right?
He was freelancing.
Correct. So you got Elliott coming back, and really, Shannon, Elliott and Ramsey sort of like the same guy. They're in the box safeties. We don't have a free, right? We don't have a guy that's the high guy over the top of the defense, and nothing gets behind him. So, Shannon, what do the Steelers got to do to go big game hunting to get a safety in this room to solidify that position room, Shannon?
Now, I can see him bringing in somebody, a free agent here. I know that they were talking about Curl.
Curl signed.
He done sign.
Yeah.
I know that there's been some talk about even bringing Duggar back, which I'm not totally against. But I'm talking about for depth.
Yeah.
But I think they definitely are going to look at probably in those first 3 rounds, trying to get him a safety.
Shannon, so I don't mind it. I like the kid out of Oregon a lot. I like the kid out of Toledo a lot. I like both of them. If we're going to go young, I like both of those guys. I like a kid like Michael Taft, right, out of University of Texas. At free safety, yeah, I like him late. We could get him in the 4th. I even like Bud Clark out of TCU. If we're gonna go, we're gonna get a safety guy, a guy that's all. That's the way to go.
A center fielder.
Correct. But we have to get a free safety, and I don't know if we got one, Shannon. I don't know because right. Well, Brisker out of their Chicago Bears have been trying to. That's the guy that was signed with us. He's sort of like a box safety, but he can play free. Right. And maybe you decide, okay, we're going to flip Elliott and put Brisker in the box or something in that combination. But Shannon, I think they need 2 people in the safety room. I think they need to sign one and draft one. Shannon.
And draft one. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Now, last position on defense, nose tackle. If we're going to run a traditional defense, Graham 3-4 defense, you got to have a nose tackle. Shannon, we don't have one on the roster. Yahweh Black is not a nose tackle. He plays too high. Harmon doesn't want to go inside. Keanu Benton is too small. Shannon, how many times have we seen where we talked about tape and he was sideways? He was like, you're supposed to be playing this way, and he's like this way.
Yeah.
Right. And he's literally getting knocked. They're propelling him like a helicopter. Right. And so now, and Hayward damn for sure ain't going in at nose. He ain't doing it. So, Shannon, we got to get a nose. We got to get a nose too. So what are your thoughts about getting a nose tackle, man?
I said a while back, I thought Hayward, because Hayward is a freak strength-wise. He's one of the strongest. I think he was the strongest defensive end, in his prime. He's still very stout and hard to move. And he's got the motor. He hustles, to increase his value here at the end of his Steeler tenure. I'd love to see him be willing to slide in like Tyson Alulu did.
Yeah.
And I thought he would be willing, but as you say, he hates playing nose.
No,
He's said it many times.
Yeah.
I think William Black can play nose, but he's going to have to learn to play with leverage and play low. And, be more about tying up blockers and not so much right now, when he gets stood up, he don't do neither. He don't penetrate and he don't tie up he don't set an anchor. So I like Equale, but I think Equale is a free agent.
Yep, he gone.
And I don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him because Equale got hurt before they got to really use him.
Yeah.
So I could see him signing Equale, who was a quality starter for the Patriots.
Yeah.
And then draft one of these big young boys out of college here in the mid-round.
Yeah. Christine loves, listen, let's be clear. Christine likes them thick, right? She's been on talking about Darnell Jackson, Jada McDonald, and Coleon forever,
Corleone,
right?
baby.
But listen,
You like McDonald, I'm sure.
Oh, of course, the Buckeye, but I'm gonna talk about Coleon in a minute. Coleon,
Yeah.
Cape. I love Cape Hart. I watched a lot of film on the University of Clemson. I love Cape Hart. Like, that kid is a legit nose tackle. 6'1", 6'2", 324, 325 pounds, you're not moving him. But if you want to go back to the days of Casey Hampton, this is the deal about Coleon, right? Yeah. Coleon about 6'1", he about 340, right? Yeah. You're not moving him. You're not freaking him, but he's only a 2-down guy. Coleon can't be on there on 3rd down, where a guy like Cape Hart can be out there for all the downs. So I think that we could get Cape Hart, Shannon, maybe in the 3rd, and win at that position at defensive tackle, right? But then, and McDonald, let's be clear. If we at 21 and we pick McDonald, I wouldn't be mad at all. Because it makes sense. You got to have a nose tackle. Yeah. You got to have. He said the Pittsburgh Steelers need to find another Casey Hampton. Well, that's Coleon or Cape Hart. Let's be clear. Or McDonald. McDonald, Coleon, or Cape Hart is in the mold of Casey Hampton, Shannon.
Well, I was going to say there's only one Casey Hampton. In the history, in the annuals of professional football, there's been Casey Hampton and Vince Wilfork, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's some guys that's been solid, but there's only one Casey. But I would like to have a guy, the way the NFL is today, I would like to have a guy that doesn't have to come off the field. A 2-down guy, you can get him trapped out there, especially if they go tempo.
Yeah.
And then you got one guy who struggles to rush the passer. If you can at least collapse the pocket, you have value there. If you do get out there in the passing downs. Because nowadays teams, they'll throw it on 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down. They don't give a crap. So that's my only thing, trying to find that guy, because Hampton, if he ever played today, he'd be a specialist.
Yeah.
And it's just not it's harder for a defensive line specialist in this modern game.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Kennedy Jones. Listen, McDonald doesn't spend too much time in a tanning bed. What he actually does is he takes that black mask stuff that you put up underneath your eyes and he puts it over his whole freaking face. That's how he plays. He's like the ultimate warrior out there. That's how he does his face. So for that one, Kennedy Jones, you headed to the penalty box because it's obvious you didn't do your investigation. So executive producer. Yeah, that's what's going on.
When I seen that, I thought it was an homage to the military.
No,
when he rubs that on his face, because a lot of them do that.
Yeah,
in the military, when they're for the lower visibility. That's what I thought he was saying. He's a warrior. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, no, that's all like the Predator, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he's like the ultimate warrior out there, man. He's putting and he's like he transforms when he puts that stuff all over his face.
Yeah, it's a shit.
But he's a big time player, man. He's a big time. So I wouldn't be Shannon. Last point before we get off the show today, bro. Priority. No, matter of fact, I'm gonna put you on the spot. We just seen our free agency done ran out already on day one. We see teams and players getting strong fast. If you had to pick a player at 21, who you taking for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Oh boy,
that's a rough one. I know it.
It is a rough one. Like I've said, if he's there, there's some guys I'd really like that are not going to be there. If Jordan Tyson fell, I would have to take him just with the price of receivers now. And you want to have the best environment for whoever your next year quarterback is, whether you find a guy this year or next year. I want that. It's been a problem for too long. So if Tyson was to fall at the 21, right now I would have to take him. If not, it would be a guard, or if say one of the top safeties. But there's really the top safeties either is really before that, and then there's a little bit of a space into the second.
There's 3 top ones. And so listen, live chat, I want to know who you guys want to pick for your first round pick. Who do you want at 21 based on the first day of free agency? So, Shannon, there's really 3 safeties. Oregon safety, Ohio State safety, and Toledo safety. So if you're saying, okay, out of all these guys, who you got to actually get? Who do you want?
Well, if I was targeting if of those 3 guys, I'll take Ohio State.
Oh, well, Shannon, the world would take Caleb Downs. I mean, let's be clear.
Yeah,
but Caleb Downs, we ain't getting him at 21.
See, now you're getting into the area where I would trade back if I could.
Okay.
And maybe target, a guard or even the kid from Toledo in that later first round. But, again, you wanted to accumulate as many picks this year and next year, but the quality of those picks. Because you want to trade up, like I said, in each round to get the guy you want, you're targeting, not who falls to you.
Yeah. Facts. Shannon, but like you said, I think that brings this conversation full circle. What you want best player available for the current need for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I don't know if wide receiver is still there, but let's be clear. If you ran Michael Pittman, Tyson, and DK Metcalf out on the field, oh my freaking God.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, listen, Shannon, I can go out there and throw for about 175. I might get about a bill 50. I might get about a bill 50. And hell, all I got to do is when we get close to the red zone, just throw it up in the air. Somebody coming down with the ball, they all huge.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, that would be nice, right?
Yeah.
But you can't throw the ball unless you got the offensive line.
Yeah, you got to have time to throw the ball. Yeah,
you got to have time. You got to have time. So I want Vega. I don't mind Pregon from Oregon, but if I'm the Steelers, I'm going O-line. I got to go O-line. You
can't go wrong. You can't go wrong if you do. Yeah.
Yep. And I think safety would be the next position. I think safety, because I think we can get quality wide receivers in the third. Hell, we got 3 third-rounders.
Yeah.
We can get whatever we need. Shannon.
But I love Cooper, and he's going to be second. So.
Yeah, Shannon, I heard he might be a first, but we'll see.
Yeah, but I'm saying that you have to get him at least in the second. Yeah.
Yeah. Darnell 6'7", 6'4" DK, 6'4" Michael Pittman Jr. Who's stopping that? You're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not. That already, with Freiermuth in the middle of the field,
yeah.
And if Roman Wilson actually develops as a slot, you're causing hell. Yeah. I mean, let's be clear. There's a lot of choice routes going on, guys being able to pick which way they want to go, and they're big body guys with sure hands. So listen, it's a lot of stuff going on over there. A lot of stuff going on over there. So I wouldn't go first round for wide receiver. It doesn't make sense. But like you said, maybe a pick 53. Yeah. And Shannon, the Steelers ain't done. Let's be clear, you Yinz. The Steelers are not done. They are far from done. So this could change again in the next 24 to 48 hours of what we're going to line up and put for the Pittsburgh Steelers at pick 21. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we reached the end of the show. My boy Shannon, Triple OG, man, let the people know where they can find you, bro.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me. And I love talking free agency and draft stuff with you, and miss seeing you each week. And hopefully we'll be able to do some more stuff in the future. And now tonight at 9:00 on Steel Curtain Network, we'll be doing the Steelers Hangover with my podcast partners, Daniel J. and Brother Tate, which, always looking forward to that. And then Wednesday night, of course, we'll have, I can't remember the name of our new show.
I don't know.
No, it's Yinz Still Believe.
Yeah.
At 8:00 on Wednesdays with me and Jeremy Betts. And I'm the one who came up with the name, and I couldn't remember. And but last week was our inaugural podcast. So, but yeah, that'll be on SC in Wednesday at 8. So, like I said, we have a lot of crossover and our community. And I love talking to you wherever, if it's on Know It Alls or Steel Curtain Network. Just keep following, keep liking and subscribing.
Absolutely, man. Listen, Shannon, I got to say thank you right off the back. Tip my hat to you, man. Thank you. And anytime, and there might be a little bit more Shannon, the Triple OG White, you're going to see over here on the Know It Alls channel moving forward, man. Hey, listen, tomorrow I'll be back at noonday with Keeping It 100 with a live rant. It's going to be a review of everything that's done happen in free agency. And I'm telling you, there's a sneaky trade or a sneaky signing for the Pittsburgh Steelers that's going to happen in the next 24 hours. So tomorrow on Keeping It 100, I'm going to go diabolical mode. And I might even start ranking where teams have been concerning their free agent signings. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, the Las Vegas Raiders is kicking ass. I'm just telling you right now, they ain't playing. Right? So we're going to see what we're ranking, how we're looking tomorrow for the Steelers. I'll be back Wednesday night with my boy Curb, my boy Tate Boy Fresh over there on Smash the Gas on the Know It Alls podcast channel. And then, of course, I'll check me out with Big B tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on The Big Show. Because, oh, my God, when I'm talking about it's going to be diabolical, it is going to be diabolical tomorrow night. It's going to be unbelievable because now we didn't see the Steelers make some moves, and hopefully by 8 o'clock tomorrow night, there'll be so many moves, it's going to be ridiculous. I thank all you guys for rocking with us. If you haven't already, hit the like button on your way out of the podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe and share. Like we said, we're continuing to grow on the Know It Alls podcast channel, but we can't do it without you. We're at about 1.53 subs. We need to get to 2,000 subs. And make sure that you look at becoming a member to get exclusive content, backstage content for the Know It Alls podcast channel. As for my special guest, the Triple OG Shannon White, and your boy Big G, Shannon, I'm going to let you take it home old school style on the Know It Alls podcast channel, man. Get us out of here, Shannon. Woo! Well, holla. Peace.